I heard you launched some kind of a business which was gay for pay. What is that exactly? What is gay for pay exactly?
Well, gay for pay is big in the bodybuilding world. Top pros have done it. It's funny, man. I actually went on a gay for pay site I want to say 2 years ago. Yeah, it's like 2014. I went on the main gay for pay site for like bodybuilding, and I like sat back and I like knew all these guys. I'm like, what the fuck? I talked to him on Facebook. I'm like, I know that guy. I just talked to him in the gym, right? It was crazy, man. I saw all these dudes that I knew like on this fucking gay site, and I'm like, holy shit, right? So then I started like researching a little bit. I'm like, wow, this is like big in the bodybuilding world. Like a lot of these guys just do gay shit for money. You know what I mean? Even though like unless I was super, hurting for money, I mean, I personally wouldn't do it because first of all, I don't have the patience to sit in front of a computer and jack off for, an hour. But a lot of these guys, do, and they'd rather do that than work a 9 to 5. So I came out with my own company. And I invested some money into it, which was a complete disaster. Maybe because I haven't marketed it hard enough. I'll be honest. I haven't marketed it hard enough. But it seems like the moral of the story is it takes a while. It takes a very long time to build up clientele that trusts a certain site and a certain clientele. And a lot of these times that these Skype guys, they'll take them off the site and they'll be like, look, so-and-so gets a cut of me. So let's just do our own private sessions and I'll charge you less and we could do it on Skype. So there's a lot of bullshit that goes on there. These guys will go on the sites, take your customers, and then just, charge less on the site because I got 50%. I would get 50%, and then I pay my web guy. But I don't do any of that. Like, I don't go on the computer at all. I haven't even been on the main site or anything like that. I pay a guy to do all that stuff.
But what it is a straight bodybuilder goes on his chat and basically does whatever.
Yeah, they do like live chatting. First, he wanted to do the guy that I was working with, he was like, we should just do videos. But I was like, no, anyone could just go online and watch free gay porn videos, jacking off videos. So I was like, do you want to do a live chat? Because people get off on the like live chat stuff. So yeah, you chat with them. They tell you what you want to do, and take them to a private room. They'll pay you, $6.99 a minute or $8.99 a minute, whatever it is. The website takes half of the money, and these guys do whatever they do behind the camera to make money.
But it's the straight guys that are doing it, basically, right? The straight guys are going.
They're all straight, mainly. Yeah, they're all straight.
Why do you think that is?
Some guys just pose in boxers and they get paid. It all depends.
Even back in the day, that was happening, but it was no chat rooms. Obviously, they would do it. They would do it in person.
Exactly. It was in person back then.
But why do you think that's always been the case in the bodybuilding world?
I think a lot of bodybuilders are lazy, man. Like, I'm fucking lazy. Like, I think I'm lazy. Like, I think we're just lazy people, man. Like, it's honestly it's not that hard to eat 7 times a day, take steroids, and train. Like, it's easy. Like, and bodybuilders talk shit about like CrossFit and all this shit. And it's like CrossFit is a lot fucking harder than bodybuilding. I tell you that much. It's a lot fucking harder. You know what I mean? And like any kind of sport is going to be harder. Like, I used to wrestle in high school, okay? And to compare the conditioning from wrestling practice to going in the gym for 40 minutes and picking up some weights, bodybuilding is a lazy ass. I don't like to even call it a sport. It's a lazy hobby. Now, this is what makes bodybuilding hard, is a lot of people can't stick to the diet. Now, I personally have no problem sticking to a diet, but a lot of people, they get cravings and they can't stick to a diet. Now, if you're strong-headed and you could stick to a diet and eat chicken 7 times a day or eat fish 7 times a day, it's a pretty easy thing to do. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it's not hard. Give me the right drugs, give me the right genetics, give me some weights, and you could be a great bodybuilder.
I want to talk about Synthol. It looks obnoxious.
It looks very dumb. Yeah, a lot of people think that a lot of people are strayed away from Synthol because they see those guys that like Louis Marco posts like in Brazil or in the different countries that their arms just look so out of place. And it just looks stupid, And if done properly, nobody should ever even know you've injected your arms. You know what I mean? So those guys, what they do is they take 100 ml syringes and they'll load it with like cheap mineral oil, and they'll have somebody push like 100 ml syringe in their arms, and they'll do it day in and day out, and they'll blow their arms up.
And they don't work out.
No, they don't even train because you can't train. If you put that much mineral oil into a body part, you can't even lift your arms up. So that's not Synthol. I mean, they're using mineral oil, cheap stuff, which they probably get infections and shit too. You want to use something that's sterile, something, that's clean, that's made in a clean environment. And you want to just use just enough to stretch the fascia. That's it, and anything more than that is going to cause excess inflammation and too much scar tissue, and then you will look funky. And obviously you're going to, there's going to be a little bit of scar tissue that causes it, but the cool thing is if you shoot it deep enough, the scar tissue is underneath the muscle, it pushes the muscle up. So it looks natural. It doesn't look like you have, fucked up shit,
Synthol gives you an impression of your muscles looking bigger, right? Larger. That's what it's used for, right? It lifts it up and it expands it, basically.
Correct. But the thing is, people understand is, like, a lot of pros will be like, I don't use Synthol, But the thing is what they don't understand is oil, right? So if these pros are shooting 12 cc's of steroids every day, they don't need Synthol. They're volumizing with the gear they're using. It's the same concept. So when people are for steroid use, but they're bashing Synthol, it makes no sense, because in a way, these top guys are volumizing the muscle. They're shooting enough gear into that muscle to volumize it, to stretch the fascia, which causes scar tissue underneath the muscle. So it's all hand in hand and stuff like that. So, and I understand, if you're taking a couple cc's a test a week or something, and you're shooting it in your glutes, and you're against Synthol, that's fine. But don't be a pro bodybuilder saying, fuck Synthol, when you're doing the same thing with all the gear you're shooting, you know what I mean?
But Synthol is not a muscle, it's just, it gives you an illusion of a muscle.
But think about it, it's all temporary though. Whether it's steroids or whether it's Synthol, it's all temporary. It's, steroids are jacking your hormones up to a level where you're in an environment where you could build all this muscle tissue. Well, you come off the steroids, that's going away. You might be able to stay off for 8, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, and keep some size. But if you stay off long enough, you're going to lose it all. Just like you see some of the biggest and baddest pros back in the day. You see them now and they're 170, 180 pounds. It's all temporary. So if you're going to bash steroids, which is temporary because you're getting your hormones up, then you're going to bash Synthol. And the funny thing is you'll keep more results with Synthol than you will gear. Because Synthol, in essence, if you're loading the muscle up, you're going to do it properly and you're going to put scar tissue underneath the muscle, which will always be there. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's all temporary, man. All the shit's temporary. That's why I get a crack up when people just bash, Synthol, and they're all about steroids.
On a podcast, you basically said that a lot of the pros, top Olympia pros, use Synthol. Is that accurate? Would you stand by that?
Yes, I would say they either do this. They either are taking so much gear that they're loading it in their muscle and acting as a CEO, a site enhancement oil, because steroids are oil based, or they're doing half gear like I do now. They're doing half gear and half Synthol. Now there's some Synthol that's not smart. There's some Synthol that has like silica in it and stuff that sits in your muscle. So you don't want to use stuff that sits in your muscle, because then the absorption of the steroids are going to be minimized. You want to have that. You're not going to have that fast absorption anymore of the steroids. So my oil, that's why I don't put anything excess in my oil. It's oil. It's going to be absorbed just as fast as gear would. So that's why right now I do half gear, half oil. So let's say I'm doing a cc and a half of Deca. I do a cc and a half of Deca, and then I pull a cc and a half of my Synthol. And I make 3 cc's with that, and then I'll shoot that. And then my next, my next injection will be a cc and a half of EQ and a cc and a half of oil. You know what I mean? So I'm volumizing. So I do that. So a lot of guys, they either do all gear because they're on so much gear, or they mix it up. They do half oil, half, this, which I know a lot of top pros do, or they just use, very little gear, and then they use the Synthol on top of that.
So basically, in your opinion, there's no such thing as cheating, right? Like oil is not cheating, and steroids.
I don't think in the bodybuilding world anything is cheating. I really don't, because think about it. It's all temporary. Everything you're doing, whether it's growth hormone, Synthol, insulin, it's all temporary. When you come off, you lose it all. You know what I mean? So when you're competing at that level, it's all goes. You know what I mean?
I saw a picture of your arm, which you had an infection in your arm, right? Was that from Synthol?
No, I shot water. It was water-based Winnie, NPP, and Masteron. I shot it 4 days before a show into my short head of my tricep, and it was already very irritated because I already had gear in there, and I was trying to load in more gear before I went to go train arms, which was dumb because my nerves were already under stress because it was already loaded with shit. So I started pushing this shit, and I'm pushing hard, and all of a sudden the worst pain in my life, like to this day, it was the worst pain I've ever felt. I dropped the needle and I started screaming in my bathroom, and Ariella was in the room at the time. Go, what the hell? I started hanging. My arm started going numb. I went fully numb. Then my arm expanded. I got in the airplane and it doubled in the airplane because I was planning on competing, and the guy next to me in the airplane was looking at me like, "What the fuck did this guy just do?" You know. And yeah, so my arm is fully scarred now. I'll get something to cover it eventually, but yeah, it pulled out so much. My arm got so fat, it pulled the skin away, and it could never heal properly because the nerves weren't damaged. That, you know, there was no blood flow going through my arm. So the scab created like 4 times and fell off 4 times trying to heal itself, but it could never heal. So that's why I have the crazy scar there. And yeah, that wasn't, I mean, you could say that's a side effect, but that's just, you know, me being an idiot and trying to load a ton of gear into a body part, and it exploded the ulnar nerve.
Now, recently there was a big scandal with shreds. Athlete got caught, you know, photoshopping pictures online to get clients and stuff.
I saw that.
So how do you feel about that? And when it comes to like cheating the customers by putting fake pictures, how do you feel about that?
That was extremely shitty. I mean, just morally, that's extremely shitty. I mean, this day and age, you know, if you meet a chick online and you pick her up at so and so, you know, it's scary. You don't even know who the fuck you're picking up anymore. The 2 things in bodybuilding I love the most are like nutrition, like trying new foods around your workouts, timing of foods, all that stuff, and drugs. So I personally strive off, okay, I'm going to try this cycle. Okay, I like that. I'm going to try this, or, you know, let me try this. So, you know, I know what to put my clients on for later. Like, for example, before I put my clients on anything that's could be potentially dangerous, like DNP, I'm going to experiment it with myself and see.